What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here. Tin Foil Hat Brigade. Prepare to ride. Mount up, boys and girls. Panini says, oops, nothing to see here. In a shocking twist, I'm actually surprised by this. I truly am. Panini actually made a statement about the downtown situation. If you don't know what I'm talking about, see yesterday's video. But basically, there was some extremely loaded cases of downtowns where, and this was Optic first off the line, where typically these are one per case, maybe two if you're lucky. People were pulling 25 per case. There was anywhere from at least 8 to 12 known instances of this, of pulling 24 plus. I believe one breaker even pulled 55 out of a case, which is absolutely insane. And, rumors and speculations were doing their things. Content creators, myself included, were having a field day with it. It was all over Instagram, Twitter, since about Wednesday, I think is when this all started going crazy. And meanwhile, Optic Football launched yesterday at near $900 a box. Wild stuff in its own right. So Friday afternoon, Panini blesses us with a statement. Don't worry, everybody. Nothing to see here. You can read it on the screen here. There is a couple key things I would like to focus in on a little bit. They cite, once again, first off the line, a collation issue related to the downtown insert. They conducted their own 72-hour on-site audit at the new print manufacturer. That's right, they're using a new printing manufacturer because Fanatics bought their old one. We found there was an error. Boy, you think? The audit revealed that the issue was isolated, affecting a small number of first-off-the-line cases, where extra content was included in some cases. But there was no shortage of any content in the first off the line boxes sold. The rest of Optic manufacturing and pack out was normal and unaffected. Okay. I don't know about you all. I am no math wizard by any means, shape, or form. Book smarts, I was more in the C's get degrees category when it comes to the old studying, both in high school and college. So when I look at this, the audit revealed a small number of first off the line cases where extra content was included. Okay. So we have extra downtowns, and let's just call it, I think it was about 10 to 12 that we know of. Not every case is ripped on camera. Let's just call it 12. And let's assume there's 25 downtowns per of these loaded cases that we've seen so far. So that's about 300. Well, the calculator says it's actually 300. If we subtract 12 off of that, because that's what it's supposed to be, is one per case, 12 cases, that's 288 extra downtowns, conservatively, because I'm sure there's some cases we don't know about. I am sure there are some cases that haven't been ripped yet. So that's 288 extra case hits that got loaded into first off the line boxes. So my question comes in, how was it that there's 288 extra case hits that we've seen so far, but there was no shortage of any content in the first off the line boxes sold? So that leads me to believe first off the line is fine. So if first off the line is fine, where did they come from? But then the next statement confuses that a little bit. The rest of Donruss Football Optic manufacturing and pack out was normal and unaffected. So you just mystically had a few hundred extra downtowns? They had to come, something somewhere got shorted. But according to Panini, the way that I read this, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Nothing to see here. Everything's good. So a number of different things happened here. Either their internal audit wasn't the best, they're not great at math, or they printed way more of these this year. Or at least, I shouldn't say way more, but they printed more of these this year, because how do you sprinkle in an extra 300 downtowns-ish and it doesn't affect anything else when that's, let's assume there's still a case hit. That's 300 cases that are now missing their case hit because you gave them out early in first off the line boxes. And if you want to go full tinfoil hat here, where do most of the first off the line boxes go to? Breakers. Were the breakers being fed the hot cases? Was this a marketing tactic? If you want to go tinfoil hat, that's where people are going to go. People are already going there. I can tell you that right now. You scroll through the comments on this Twitter post and or various Instagram posts. That's where a lot of people are running to. Do I believe that? I don't really know. I don't think. I think that's giving Panini too much credit. I think they printed more of these things. I think they messed up the pack out where these first off the line cases were juiced. But I think the reason it's not affecting anything else is because the print runs are up on these. I haven't verified this for myself, but I was listening to Sports Card Nonsense the other day, and they were talking, I think it was Jesse, was reading off the descriptions, the product descriptions. And if you looked at earlier years of Optic, it specifically cited downtowns as a case hit. In 2023, what he was reading basically just said, look for downtowns. Paraphrasing a little bit, but there was no mention of it being a case hit only. So are they rarer than a case hit because they shorted some stuff? I don't know. Now, I saw some people speculating that, did they come from retail? I don't think so, because retail's out already. Retail's been out for months. Optic has been delayed multiple times. Now, is this the reason why it was delayed? Optic Hobby Boxes got delayed multiple times. It got pushed back months from when it was originally supposed to release. Did this have something to do with it? Is this the reason why that they had to delay those boxes? Because they were having issues packing things out and just maybe threw their hands up or said, screw it, some of this stuff is just going to get, loaded up and we'll figure it out for the rest of the stuff. I don't know. Clearly, Panini never usually goes on the record about anything. Clearly, they wanted to get in front of this because Optic Football released today, and it is a major tentpole release for them at, as we discussed yesterday and today, almost $900 a box, like $860, $870 a box on David Adams. I don't know what it went up for on Panini today, but David Adams is charging $850-ish to $900 a box. We'll see what it's going for on the secondary market on Sunday in the weekly market update. But an $800+ box of one of their flagship releases. Prism's the big one, but Optic is, right up there. It's like they're probably second tier. Their number 2 product between that and Select, probably, of the mainline stuff. They don't want to mess that up. So clearly they wanted to get in front of this because the narrative was that either A, boxes are going to be shorted, or B, they printed this stuff to the moon, killing the value of downtowns, one of the biggest chases of the product. Either way, not great. And their statement is just absolutely hilarious. Once again, extra content was included. Let's just go with that. Extra content was included. Where did the extras come from? Because the following statement says there was no shortage of any content in first off the line boxes. So to me, that reads first off the line boxes were juiced. However, as we mentioned earlier, then the second statement makes no sense. The rest of the football, the rest of Optic was just fine. It was normal and unaffected. You can't have it both ways. You can't put a bunch of extra case hits in certain boxes and then in the other hand say everything else was normal. Something had to get shorted somewhere. So what was it? Or are these things just way heavily printed this year? Are they not true case hits anymore? but clearly first off the line is loaded. And I don't see how any rational person can look at that and say at least a dozen cases had an extraordinarily massive amounts of hits, how that doesn't water down something else. What that could be, don't know. All we could do is, here's their statement. This is what Panini is telling us. You could choose to believe it or not. But interesting times. We'll know. We'll know for sure here over the next weeks to months. It's going to take a little bit of time. We'll start to see the pop report. Like I said in yesterday's video, there's already like 1,800 to 2,000 optic downtowns on the pop report just off of retail. And I don't know how hard downtowns were to typically hit out of retail. That's not something I ever really chased. So that's already a decent number. That's not nothing. And now all of a sudden, just in the last 3 days, 300 and some were pulled out of a handful of cases. And like I said, is there more hot cases out there? I saw more posted today. Every time I look at Instagram or Twitter, someone else is posting a breaker that got a hot case. In one case, it was just a normal guy, like a regular person, posted on Facebook that he bought a case for himself to rip, and he got one of the loaded ones. So it is not all going to breakers. And some of the breakers that are getting them are not like the most massive following people in the world. That was something Sports Card Radio was talking about the other night on their live. So I don't know. All I know is 1 + 1 does not equal 2 on this statement. Something there is not adding up to me. It just does not make sense. Maybe I'm the dummy here. Wouldn't be the first time. Won't be the last time. Very curious for your thoughts and comments down below on this one. Very curious. Tinfoil Hat Brigade is going to have a field day with this one as well. They should. My hat's sitting behind me on the shelf. I'm going to have to get it out and take a lap. All I got for you boys and girls. Catch you tomorrow for the weekly sports card market update. Peace.